Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to the Twin Peaks Watchalong for episode or part 11. There's a fire where you are going. My co-host today is Mandy. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Now, before we get going on this watch-along, there's just one thing that I want to bring up with you beforehand, and that is Showtime has released the titles for parts 13 through 16 of this new series, and I want to get your reaction to them.
Okay.
So part 13 is called What Story Is That, Charlie? I think we talked about that briefly on the last podcast with Hal. Obviously, we have no clue what that is about. It could be a Gordon Cole line. Who knows?
Yeah.
Part 14 is called We Are Like the Dreamer. I like that.
Huh. Okay.
Part 15 is There's Some Fear in Letting Go. That could have some major ramifications.
Yeah, that one, I get a little red flag for that one.
Or not, because, we don't want to have too many expectations.
Nope.
Part 16, this one I do have expectations for. It's called No Knock, No Doorbell. And the reason why I have expectations for it is if you remember that footage that came out on Periscope and then to TMZ of what they were filming outside Laura Palmer's house, I think that has to do with that.
It's plausible. It lines up.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll see.
Right. Someone asked me the other day what I think part 17 and part 18 are going to be called, because after these 4 hit, there's only going to be 2 parts left. I jokingly told them part 17 will be called House and part 18 will be Annie.
Oh no. If you were right, I will give you $20. There you go.
There's no way I'm going to be right. I could see the last part being called How's Annie if they were
that would be spectacular.
If they were going to do something like that. But who knows? I don't even think Showtime's probably going to send out those titles until probably towards the end of August anyway. So
I wouldn't think so. It took them this long to give us the first. So
right.
I don't even care about titles anymore. I'm good. Whatever. I just want to watch the show.
Yeah, but it's fun to still hear what they're called though.
Well, yeah, but it's I mean, I don't want to have expectation, and I like the titles, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they pop up in dialogue, and yeah.
So, all right. Well, before we begin this episode too, I just want to get your overall thoughts of this part, because I know you were kind of lukewarm about some aspects of part 10. So in terms of part 11 overall, because we're going to get a discussion of, watching this episode, but overall, what did you think of this hour of television?
Well, I sent you a message right after it was done, and I'm okay that you said that on your other podcast, but I was crying. I thought it was beautiful. It was exciting, and there were so many great elements, and some of my questions were answered, and I think that this is probably going to go down as probably the best one so far. I think in my books, 7, 9, and 11 are the top 3, but I think 11 has won out.
Wow.
So, yeah, I loved and maybe it's my obsession with Dana Ashbrook. I have no idea. But I just loved everything about this episode. Everything.
And
it was so good. The acting was incredible. Like Amanda Seyfried, she knocked it out of the park. I didn't know she was that good.
Well,
so
anybody who has followed her career knows that she's a good actress when she is in good material. It's not all not all letters to Juliet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she really impressed me. She was awesome. So yeah, and your overall thoughts?
No,
Did you put it up into 1 or 2 at least?
No. I think that and again, it's how can I really judge it? Because it is all of a piece. I think that this episode does have some great scenes in it, but there are other episodes that I think have scenes that get me, at least as a Twin Peaks watcher, more excited. But that doesn't take away from what I'm seeing here. I love what I'm getting here. I think this is a tremendous hour. I think that I don't know if you heard what I was telling Hal, but I really do think, and I'll say it again, in case you haven't heard, because every video podcast, Mandy, is someone's first. Don't ever forget that. I firmly believe that if they had combined parts 10 and this one together as a 2-hour one on Showtime, I don't think part 10 would have gotten the flack it did, because 11, yes, I understand 11 is supposed to follow 10, but just as a 2-hour piece of work, I thought that 11 complemented 10 and gave answers to 10. So you weren't like just left with all the Richard Horne stuff and then you had to wait a week and then get this. If you had gotten that scene with Stephen and Becky in part 10 and then you got the payoff in this as one 2-hour piece, I don't think that people would have maybe felt as squeamish about some of it, because it felt like, oh, well, he didn't kill Miriam. Here's Miriam here. So there was obviously it is all of one piece, but I think it just worked as a complimentary 2 hours of television. So
yeah, I'd agree with that.
So that's it. That's the only thing I can say about that. I just wish that Showtime had done that. But what are we supposed to do? We can do that when we eventually get the Blu-ray sets, if they ever come out.
Yeah.
There's still no announcement for it. So if you are recording this on any kind of DVR or type of thing, make sure you do, because Showtime is going to dump this thing 3 weeks after the finale. So you're looking at towards the end of September. It's supposed to be off their streaming.
But I will say that, at least in Canada, if you have Crave TV, I'm going to plug that here. They have it on Crave TV for up until 2034. They're keeping it on. So
wow.
So you will have a long time to be able to go and see that. So Crave TV is kind of they're kind of like Netflix, I guess. So it's not like a channel or anything. It's an actual site that you can order through your cable providers, and so they'll have it. And they're listed up until 2034.
I don't know. Are they only Canada based, or?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more reason to move up to your neck of the woods.
Yep. It's the best.
All right, so let's get started. I'm going to be watching this on the Showtime streaming, and so I have that pesky 1-minute commercial beforehand. But are you ready to go, Mandy?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Hit play. Ooh, Showtime. Trademark. Of course, it goes without saying that this part was written by Mark Frost and David Lynch and directed by David Lynch. Who else would it be by? But I figure I have to. It's good to say who wrote and directed this material. Yeah. All right, Showtime. All right, Showtime presents. And now we get the Rancho Rosa in blue and white, blue skies with white clouds. Vortex, anyone?
Yep.
It's coming.
I'm really glad that it's muted for this episode, because that car scene, the honking of the horn, right. Oh my gosh, it drove me bananas.
I know. There's an area of my town that people are supposed to honk their horn, and it reminded me of that, and it drove me absolute bonkers. But I think that's the intent, is to just drive you insane. And of course, I love these opening titles. And this part actually had quite a bit more take place in the town of Twin Peaks than a lot of the other parts.
Mm-hmm. I think that was one of the things too as to why I liked it so much is there were like I'm basing it on emotions, right? Like I just felt really comfortable with where they were going, the people that we were seeing, the locations. It was very familiar.
Plus, you wanted to have a lot of answers in regards to the Bobby Shelley thing. So,
yeah.
And you got it.
That really bugged me. I did. And I was so excited, and then I was so sad.
See, be careful what you wish for.
I know.
All right, so it begins with a shot I believe we've seen before. This every time we go to this the mountains and the woods. I don't know if we're gonna go to Dr. Jacoby or Miriam or what what we're getting.
Or Jerry.
Or Jerry. So this I love the two boys playing ball, and then all of a sudden a third boy shows up, and it reminds me of kind of Kyle in this series. At the beginning of the series there were two of him, and then all of a sudden a third one showed up. But yeah, they have other baseballs on the ground, so they don't have to be chasing this one, but this boy does. And one of these boys is Travis Frost. I don't know if he's Mark Frost's son or grandson, but he is listed in the credits. And when this boy crosses the street, I got to tell you, I was scared to death we were going to get another car accident.
Yeah, I was waiting for it.
But no, we get Miriam in the woods. And how do you, obviously she crawled out of her house, but did she crawl out of her house and through the woods,
Yeah, I was surprised by this, and man, they did great makeup because she looks horrendous.
I don't think she lost an eye though. I think she's just got a bruised eye.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see she's alive because Richard and Chad, they're in trouble.
Oh yeah.
And now we have Becky. Now I'm trying to figure out who is calling and tipping her off that Stephen is at this woman's house.
I love that scream. It's like you can feel it. I don't know, maybe it was just like a friend or something. Right.
And calling mom, of course, borrow the car. And so Mitch Hammock runs off, and Norma once again is doing paperwork. She never did any paperwork at all in the first first two seasons, but here she's always doing paperwork. I think there's a reason for it though, Mandy. Mark my words. I think there's a reason for it, and I'll get to it. I'll get to it in a little bit.
Okay.
So Becky getting the gun, just like mom back in the day with Leo. And Shelley pulls up, and this was a scene. I'm sure you're well aware. This was a scene that was widely reported on the forums a long time ago. That people saw a shot of Shelley on the hood of the car being driven through the Fat Trout Trailer Park.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, what on earth are you talking about, Shelley on the hood of a car? And the way she just kind of hops on, it's like the Dukes of Hazzard or something.
Yeah. I love that shot of her. I love the colors in this episode. Everything, they're so bright and they pop so much.
Right.
But then you see the little red shoes flying.
when she just throws her mom off the hood of the car, it's like unbelievable. But then people also were reporting online that, that they saw Shelley doing a scene with Carl. And so the original thought going around was that Shelley was the daughter of Carl Rod.
Okay, so that's where that came from.
Yes, that's where this came from. And it made sense at the time because you would think that Shelley dropping out of high school to marry Leo Johnson, she seemed like maybe she did come from a trailer park, So, but obviously we get confirmation that she didn't, or she's not the daughter. Now, Carl blows the little whistle, and we have this VW that pulls up, and the license plate says Zone Boys. And we got confirmation today from Mark Frost that Carl Rod is an original Bookhouse boy.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
So that explains why he has a direct line to the sheriff's station.
And a little coffee get up in there. And I like that van. I'd be pretty comfortable.
Yeah. Shelley's knee looks very bruised and real.
Yeah.
And the elbow too. Now, Norma, I gotta say, Norma gets a lot of nasty looks to give in this episode.
Yeah.
And I think she disapproves of Shelley Johnson's parenting skills.
I would hope so.
Or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Shelley Briggs's parenting skills. Because in this scene, we find out that even though she is divorced or estranged from Bobby, she still has Bobby's last name. So they obviously got married at some point.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I may have screamed a little. Been like, yes, they're together. She's the Briggs. And then my dreams were dashed by Balthazar Getty. So
yeah,
but that's okay. I was just excited because again, it's an answer, right? Like it's one of our people, and now we know. So, and they haven't interacted at all yet. So
right, and this staircase outside of the apartment looks, is a reminder of kind of Laura's hallway with the the staircase and stuff like that. So, but I do not think that Amanda Seyfried is what the media was coining as the new Laura Palmer. This is not Laura Palmer.
No. This is just the show that is great.
Exactly. Room 208. She's banging on the door. She looks very pissed off. The neighbor here, believe it or not, is Lauren 2's Julie from the Love Boat.
Yeah, I heard that. How random.
Oh. So random. Okay, so she fires the gun, and then we get this crazy Mulholland Drive / Evil Dead shot that flies through the hallways. And we finally get to Steven there with Alicia Witt, who, of course, is reprising her role as Gersten Hayward, Donna's little sister. So some people are saying, are they dating? Because Steven would be mid-20s, Gersten Hayward would be early 40s. So maybe he's shacking up with this lady because of the drugs. Or KM Charlie 75 thinks, could Gersten, because of the whole situation going down with them finding out that Donna was the real daughter of Ben Horn and Eileen, that maybe Gersten was fooling around and she had Steven around 20 or so. Maybe Gersten is his mom.
Oh,
that's kind of a new one.
That is new. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we don't have one way to think, so.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I don't think Amanda would be as mad as she is if it was his mom. But
I agree. But people are overreacting a lot.
You never know.
Are overreacting a lot in this series.
Yeah.
So now we get to Albert and Gordon and Diane and Tammy showing up with Bill Hastings outside where he says that he saw Major Briggs. If you look, of course, at the car that Gordon comes out of, the license plate does say something that resembles Vortex, which is kind of funny.
Oh.
I don't know. It's just what people are saying, and I can see it. It's one of those things where I can go, I get it. I get it where you're coming from. Some people have said they were really annoyed with Tammy in this episode. Were you? It didn't bother me. She didn't bother me.
She was the most tolerable in this one. I actually really enjoyed her because she wasn't walking around. she was great. I thought she was really good in this one.
Right.
So
a question.
It's the walking and the strutting that kind of irritate me, but
well, I got a question earlier saying, would the Woodsman even have been here if Diane hadn't texted about that they were going to the site? You know what I mean?
That's an interesting theory.
Right, and there's no way for us to know either way at this point, but it is interesting. Yeah. I do like the fact that the Woodsmen come in all shapes and sizes.
They do. And it still is weird that there's only a few of them that can see them.
But I love the fact that it's not like just some vision thing. It's, if you're looking with, pure eyes, you can see them. And because Gordon, Albert, Diane, they're all seeing it. The only one who doesn't is the police officer in the front of the car with Hastings.
And Tammy.
And Tammy, I guess.
Yeah. So it seems like it's just this either the inner Blue Rose circle or people that have actually come in contact with them through things like this vortex.
Right.
So, but Matthew Lilliard's face, like, oh man, he just killed his performance in this show. I loved it. He was so good.
I would have loved if he had lived and maybe gotten out of the car and just was running down the road and a bunch of woodsmen were just chasing after him down the road.
Oh, there's a nightmare for tonight.
Now this scene made me really nervous because I thought we were going to get a Gordon Cole disappears like Chet Desmond scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought Gordon was gone. And obviously, even though, Gordon's going out of focus, it's Albert's perception too that's going out of focus. So he's kind of he's not in, seeing the vortex like Gordon is, but he is kind of being tampered with. And obviously we see this vortex appearing, and I gotta tell you, I was thinking either Gordon's gonna get sucked up in this thing and bye Gordon, and we're gonna find out what happened to Chet Desmond, or I thought a house was gonna fall on him because I thought this was like the Wizard of Oz or something. Because when we get this like black hole towards the top, I thought, oh God, is that like an object coming down to flatten Gordon?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm getting.
I thought he was gonna, like, his head was gonna pop off or something.
Oh my God. Do you realize how depressed I would be if David Lynch, his character, died in one of these parts?
I'm not even gonna go there. That would be the worst.
Now, I love this.
I love the long shot with this crazy old man going like that. It's so good.
Exactly. Now, if Diane is innocent and she's not quite working with the doppelganger, maybe she's working at Philip Jeffries or whoever. She definitely does something in this scene that I find is unforgivable if she's an innocent character, but that will happen in a second here. When we go through the vortex, we get a shot of the woodsmen on a staircase, which it looks like Laura's staircase. It could be a staircase to the convenience store, but in the background we see that it's got the same wallpaper as the painting in Laura's bedroom from Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah.
So which
is bananas.
It makes sense though. Yeah. And I love how the trees are all in fast motion. You see them blowing in the wind, just like a supersonic speed. Bill I would be asking to be out of this car. Can we leave? Because this is freaky here.
Well, and the first time he would have seen a woodsman, you'd think that he would want to jump out of there, but.
Exactly. Now, people online have said that the discovery of Ruth Davenport's body has to do with Lynch's quote unquote, I don't know how people would know this, but I guess he does have sort of a obsession with the Black Dahlia.
Yeah, I read that.
And so if that's true, then I can see that here. I mean, this is, even though this doesn't resemble quite what the Black Dahlia looked like, it definitely gives a familiar tone to it. Now, Diane seeing the woodsman approaching the car, right? Which, okay. Now later in the episode, she says she sees the woodsman leaving the car. We'll get to that when she's talking about it. But I love the Samsung product placement, by the way.
Yeah, right.
But I do think that if she is innocent, allowing Bill Hastings to get killed like this is pretty messed up.
Well, and really, like, I mean, she's watching it go into the car, and Mackley is awesome when he screams. Like, that was so believable. Shoot, I forgot what I was going to say.
But she's not scared. She's not flinching. She's not like, out of breath. She just is like, oh, of course this is going to happen.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what is her damage that she's so desensitized to anything that even this, she can't herself to be all like, hey, something's happening.
Because I think she's aware that this was going to happen. I think she brought him here to be assassinated.
Oh, right.
That's what I think. And, I've been contacted a lot lately about saying that this guy, he wants to be anonymous, but oh, real quick, 2240 Sycamore. So obviously we're under the Sycamore, right? And the fact that Dougie saw Sycamore Street in Rancho Rosa. So there's ties as well. I do love the fact that Gordon says, you know, he's dead.
He's dead.
Like really? I wonder.
Oh.
But anyway, this guy who wants to remain anonymous, he contacts me a lot, and he was saying that the woodsmen remind him of these woodsman nutcrackers, and so maybe, you know, the fact that the people's heads are being caved in, it's kind of like a nutcracker. So, it's interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I love this scene, this moment between Bobby, Shelley, and Becky. This is a wonderful moment of dysfunctional family trying to hold it together, and right before our eyes we see it fall apart. She's like, I want to be gone, I want to leave him. So you want a divorce? No, I love him.
Yeah.
And you know, Shelley's trying to be like this mom that's there for her daughter, but then will drop her daughter in a second to go make out with Red outside.
Well, yeah, see how quickly her tears dried up. I was like, you hussy.
There's a reason why she's got one button less on button on her top now. Now I gotta tell you, see, I can understand your Dana Ashbrook just love, because I think he's great. He says, I'll loan you the money. So obviously we now know that they're not quite together anymore. But when he is telling her, like, has he hit you? Just so you know, if he does anything, I'm going to bust him. That is the Bobby Briggs. That's the fire we saw in Bobby Briggs when he would tell Shelley, if he ever touches you again, Leo Johnson's a dead man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I loved seeing that Bobby come back out.
Yeah.
It also helped,
because up until now we haven't seen whether, like, if he's just kind of a regular deputy, if he's kind of a badass deputy, if he's we don't have really any context of what Bobby's like now, except that he's good and he's a nice guy now, but like, does he still have that wild streak in him?
Oh,
and
look at those.
Definitely see that.
Yeah, look at those eyes. And then we keep cutting these like cutaway shots to Norma, who looks like she's ready to, I don't know, take out Shelley or something. She does not look happy at all with this situation. And I can't wait to find out more about what's going on with her and Big Ed.
Yeah.
If we ever do.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping there's a scene where Becky's at Shelley's house at night and Shelley tells her about her previous marriage to Leo. And that's what makes Becky change her tune about Steven.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And then we get a cutaway shot of Leo at age 55 still holding on to the spiders.
A box of dried up spider carcasses.
But again, we get another answer that, was Red just kind of flirting with her at the bar? No, looks like they're an item. Some people have thought that what we saw at the bar was their first night of them flirting with each other. I don't get that. When I watch the scene over, it seems like it's still a new relationship, but that doesn't look like it's like the first night that he was flirting with her, because she smiles and kind of looks away, and it's not. She obviously seems to recognize him in that scene in the roadhouse. But yeah, she just starts making out with him right outside the front door. And look at Becky. She's like, Dad, what are you gonna do? Look how red her eyes are.
Seriously, she's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. Becky so far it's a small part, but she's one of those actresses that just throws herself into whatever size role. She believes in the project,
Yeah. And I guess I haven't seen enough of her stuff to really appreciate her as an actress.
Mm-hmm.
I did see her in real life one time. She's very short. But yeah, no, she's awesome.
Did you see her when they were filming this? Is that one?
No, I saw her in 2010 when she was doing Red Riding Hood.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what's kind of funny is that when Shelley is kissing Red outside the diner, you see the building where they apparently shot the convenience store in Fire Walk with Me. Look at Becky. She's like, Mom, what?
Yeah.
And then the bullets start flying. And Bobby goes into action mode while Toad turns off the lights.
Yeah.
I love that line that Norman has. Toad, get the lights. And, this was something I didn't notice until recently, is that Bobby, underneath this awesome jacket, is wearing the same kind of flannel he was in the first season.
Yeah. I know. I saw that too.
That's great. So, we have Shelly is like, and then Becky's like her mom, Shelly. And here we have a kid who's shooting a gun that looks exactly like his dad. Right.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot, at least just even in this one part, a lot of the sins of the parents are going to visit the children. There's this is definitely a Mark Frost touch here.
Yes, very much gun control and all that stuff.
But it makes sense. I mean, this is something that could happen. But when those bullets went flying through the double R, I was thinking, did Red, send in a hit on Bobby? Was Steven, firing a gun at Becky, and it's just this random thing of violence, while we have little Nikki part 2 here staring at at Bobby, and Bobby's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But that's not even it. Right now we get this horn lady, and it's like, this is so bizarre. I mean, this is as bizarre, like people complain about like the Black Lodge stuff. This is the stuff that wigs me out.
Yeah.
Bobby staring at a kid that's like staring back at him, and a lady just beeping the horn, and then Deputy Jesse shows up and he says, I heard shots at Big Ed's. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is he saying he was at Big Ed's and he heard these shots and he came here?
Yes. Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah, because I thought that too. I was like, yes, we're gonna see Ed because all the cops have to go up there now too.
Right.
No, when I watched it again, it was I was there. I mean, you can't tell because Jesse speaks so strangely.
Right.
He's such a weird guy. So.
Right. Because I thought that he was saying there were shots at Big Ed's, and that there was
too at first.
There was a double, crime scene going on here.
Well, right. I mean, with the dispatch lady, I mean, she was busy, running off the hook tonight. So
yeah, Maggie was working overtime tonight. Now this lady's screaming, "We gotta get home! 6:30 dinner!" And then this girl pops up like Night of the Living Dead and starts like vomiting. Now, I've heard 2 different theories, and who knows? I mean, hopefully we'll get a payoff eventually. But the 2 different theories are either this girl is having a drug overdose from all the drugs going on in this town, right? Or could it mean that she's had exposure and the doppelganger is in town? Because they said that whoever got in touch with the doppelganger would get violently sick.
Yeah, that's true.
I like number 2.
I like number 2 as well. It would make sense, but
because it is kind of cream Cornish. I mean, it's pea soupish, but it has that kind of. I don't know, because we haven't seen the doppelganger in like 2 parts, right? So.
Yeah, but the days they're not actually moving very fast. So I think we could still be on, like the day after he met with Chantel and Hutch.
Right.
But when that kid, because you couldn't see that there was a kid there, when that kid moved, oh my gosh, that was terrifying. That was very scary, her coming up. And I mean, I just saw it as a kid that maybe is sick with cancer or something like that, and grandma's taking her home or whatever, but who knows?
It could be.
It was creepy.
It could be any of those things or none of the above.
Yeah.
So, okay, now we get this epic scene here between Hawk and Frank Truman with this living map that it's an old thing, but it's current. And they discuss that they have to go to Blue Pine Mountain, which is where Major Briggs's station was. Now, of course, if you take Blue Pine Mountain on that map and flip it upside down, ooh, it does look like the owl cave symbol. So, I don't know. What did you think of this scene?
I loved it. I love the folklore stuff. I love when they bring, just interesting backstories into things. And Hawk is he's very endearing. Like I want to know what he says.
Mm-hmm.
So, and do you think that Michael Horst drew this map? It looks like his art.
He may have.
Yeah.
I can see that. Because, I mean, he definitely has a personal connection to this character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the symbol of the mother up there, if that is the symbol of the mother, people have said to me that reminds them of, maybe that's what the giant was talking about. The owls are not what they seem. That maybe it's a reference to the mother, retroactively speaking, of course. But when Sheriff Truman says, I don't want to know about that. Really? And he goes, really? And I'm like, yes, I do want to know about that, Hawk. Why don't you tell me more? Let's not have Jesse interrupt us with, let me show you my new car, Sheriff Truman.
Jesse.
Actually, I think there's a little bit more to that, but when that comes up. But we get a shot of corn and black corn, that type of thing. So yeah, people are drawing allusions to the Garmonbosia and all that. And I think bad things are coming.
Yeah. And really, I mean, it seems like they're gearing up for everybody kind of converging together and all hell breaking loose. So,
and when we say all hell breaking loose, we're not talking about an owl flying and Andy has a pickaxe.
No.
There could be, some severe casualties in this series.
Yeah.
By the time's over. So here we have another call from the log lady, and she once again gives the title to the part.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I have to tell you, we are getting more log lady in the series than I thought we were going to get if it wasn't going to be the introductions.
Yeah. And I'm so excited about that. Like, because she's crucial, she's so important to everything. So excuse me, the fact that they've obviously spent a couple of hours with her, filmed a bunch of stuff, and then have strategically placed it throughout. I love that. When the original theory that she was only at the beginning, like the first two,
mm-hmm.
and that was it, that was sad, because I really wanted to see her more. So
right, you notice that she has two phones. She's talking on one and she has another one on her table.
Well, I think you can only see it, I think, in episode 1 or 2. It's plugged in. The cord is actually, she has two phones there.
Right.
Oh, I see. Oh, Margaret.
But listen, when the log lady calls you up and says there's fire where you are going, you better listen to her, because her husband died in a fire. Mm-hmm. So, all right, now we have this moment that when I first saw it, I was screaming at Jesse, like, we don't have time for you. Okay. We have to get going with this whole map thing. He wants to show Sheriff Truman his new car. But I've had a few people tell me that they don't think that Jesse wants to show Sheriff Truman his new car, that perhaps he's trying to get Truman outside to warn him about something having to do with Chad. And that would be awesome. But somehow I don't think that's happening. I think Jesse just wants to show off his new car. But I hope it is that he's one of the good guys.
Yeah. I think he definitely is. He seems like a good guy.
So he's
just very strange.
And now we have Gordon doing the handshake, much like the people at the end of season 2. They were all having the handshake there. And do you think the cat on a hot tin roof is just a line, referencing Tennessee Williams, or do you think it's a code word or code line?
I mean, they don't say things at random in this show, so right. I think it's got to be something, and something to do with Diane, because she's perched, she's watching them, she's waiting for them to say something. So
I like that word, perched. She's like an owl right now, just staring at them.
And her pants are terrible. I've been meaning to say that for so long.
And people think that she's dressing like a clown with the wig and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, could you be any more obvious trying to memorize these numbers, Diane?
Well, yeah, like, keep your lips sealed, you dummy. But oh well.
Oh, Albert is on to her. And she knows it too. And that's why she says, can I get a smoke in here? Okay, she eventually smokes inside the room, but I thought she was trying to get an excuse to like leave and send another text.
I never got that impression, but I mean, who knows? But
well
I don't
no,
like
because when she lights up, I mean, she smokes in the room, but when she's like, "Oh, I need to smoke," I thought she was need to leave and send another text. You know what the numbers were for the coordinates.
right. Okay, yeah. And I mean, I don't like the theories that maybe Albert is kind of rogue as well. Like,
I think he's done roguish things before, but he came clean to Gordon on that tarmac at the end of part 4.
Like, do you have any reservations that Diane and Albert are in this together in any way?
I would be completely upset if they are.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, Gordon does say a policeman's dream, referencing, of course, Cooper's line from the pilot.
Yeah.
And let me ask you something: Is Diane's shtick smoking and cursing at everybody? Is it? Are you still into it, or is it wearing a little thin for you? Because it's wearing a little thin for some people, I know.
No, I actually kind of hate her now because she appears to be bad. She's against our FBI guys. So, but no, I love Laura Dern, and anytime she's on screen, whatever she's doing, if she's good or bad, she's fantastic. So
right.
If she would only change her pants, then I would be more tolerable of her. But yeah, no, she's great. I really like Diane. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with her and how she will die.
Well, I don't know about that, but okay. So she doesn't mention the woodsman until Gordon and Albert mention them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, she thinks she saw one get out of the police car. And some people have said, well, does that mean that Diane sees things backwards because she saw the woodsman approach the car, and she is saying she saw it leave the car? My feeling is this: I think that she is merely covering her tracks. She knew that Hastings was going to be killed at this site. She kept her mouth shut. She let it happen. She's letting Albert and Gordon Cole come out first with the woodsman theory so she can piggyback on top of it and say, yeah, that's probably what happened. And I saw him leave the car, which of course makes the detective say, well, no one was in the car.
Yeah.
So I think she's trying to, just create a narrative around what Gordon, Albert, look at Albert just staring. He was like looking at Diane like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I love
no,
Gordon.
I
dirty bearded men in a room. What were you going to say?
I agree with you completely. Like, I think that, I just got distracted by the red balloons.
You and Dougie.
Yeah, right. It's like squirrel.
So, okay, we have.
No, I don't think Diane sees anything backwards. She's just BSing them to cover her tracks. 100%.
Exactly. All right. So now we have Mullins here. He's working out. This is okay. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think Tom Sizemore is at the end of this episode is going to be put in a position where he has to take out Dougie. And I think Mullins is going to end up just punching the heck out of Tom Sizemore. There's too many boxing like foreshadowing going on here to not have Mullins do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he doesn't throw a single punch in this series, I'm gonna be disappointed because there's a lot of Dougie looking at the boxing thing behind him and that type of thing. So
yeah. And I love this assistant guy. He's just so nice.
No, I love him too. I've been cracking jokes the last few days, though, that he has had more screen time than Sheryl Lee and Sherilyn Fenn in this new series.
Yep, 100%. Yeah. No, I really liked Don. What's his last name?
Murray.
Don Murray. When he was talking at the panel, he was so sweet. Like, he was so excited to be there and just so happy and articulate. It was a neat because isn't he like 90?
I don't know about that, but
I thought I heard that he's quite elderly and he's just awesome.
No, I agree. I think that it's wonderful having a guy like that at Comic-Con. Now, I've had some people say to me, and I don't believe this one instance. I've had people say to me that they feel that Bushnell purposely sent Dougie there to get killed. And I don't believe he's too He's too protective of Dougie. Yes, I understand. He should have maybe gone with Dougie because Dougie can't even like function. He can't even walk into a bathroom without help. But I think he's a big believer in Dougie, and I think he says, well, you know what, Dougie's gone this far, so
yeah.
And he knows he's sending them with the big check, right? So he doesn't feel like anything's going to happen to him. I just don't buy it. That Bushnell seems like too nice of a guy. And listen, Lynch sometimes deals with grays, but a lot of times the good people are good and the bad people are bad.
Yeah. 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 No, he's way too excited about this, and he believes in Dougie, and he understands the whole car accident thing and brain damage and all this kind of stuff. So, and he was, Dougie was the only one that cracked the code and things like that. So no, there's no way. Look at his face. He's so excited. There's no way he's setting him up. Forget it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Now, if you notice, Kyle's hair is getting a little bit more normal length now. So I think we're heading towards him in that giant room from the beginning of the season, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm the one who told you about that. I sent you pictures. I was like, okay, his hair is long.
Well, tell us a little bit more about that while they're having a discussion here.
It's just really simple. He's got more of a lick in his hair now. It's getting longer, and he looks more like he did in the gray room in episode 1 than he did even 2 episodes ago in, say, 7 or 9. So it just kind of made me think. But again, time isn't really passing that quickly when you look at the show on a whole. So I don't know, but he looked more like Grey Lodge Cooper now than he has a couple episodes ago. So.
I think that we're going to go back to that room with him and the giant. I think it's just inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah. And also he doesn't have his pin on either. So it looks like it would be a smooth transition that I don't know.
Right. All right. So here we have Robert Knepper and James Belushi again. We loved them in the last episode, but obviously the payoff we get with them in this episode is what makes you completely love their characters.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like you really liked them before, and they were kind of the humorous gangster types in the previous. I love, by the way, when Belushi pours the Raisin Bran, another product placement, you'll notice there's no plastic in it. It's just Raisin Bran in a box. So whoever was in charge of the props, there's a plastic bag the Raisin Bran's supposed to be in.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, and I love these long shots that, these oneers that Lynch always likes to do. But
yeah,
I think them in part 10 is like a wonderful kind of, even though we've seen them before, is kind of as a second introduction to them. And then in this part, we get the payoff. And I think by the end of this episode, we are so happy that they are in Dougie's corner, that whoever comes after him, whether it be Tom Sizemore's character or Ike the Spike or whoever, I feel like the Mitchum brothers have Dougie's back now. And whoever comes to confront Dougie, they better watch it, because these guys have a lot of power.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're very you just can't take your eyes off them, because they're just interesting characters, and they're seemingly kind of nice, but they're badass, and they can kill you in a second, and they just sit and eat Captain Crunch and Raisin Bran together.
Speaking of exciting things in a second here, we have the one-armed man showing up, telling Dougie to come in here and buy a pie. Now, of course, we don't know he's buying a pie. They do a cutaway so that we're surprised by what's in the box. Now, here's the thing. Peggy Lipton tweeted out the other day that he is buying one of Norma's pies from the Double R Diner, which is interesting because some people said, well, if he's eating a Norma's pie at the end of this episode, that didn't wake him up. But apparently this is supposed to be one of Norma's pies, and the whole thing of RR to go, that's why Norma's doing all this paperwork, is because she's sending pies and things out to other places. I don't know how fresh it is, considering it's in Las Vegas. But according to Peggy Lipton, this is one of Norma's pies. So, I don't know.
That still, it seems a little far-fetched for me, but you never know.
Well, yeah. And okay, so here we have Dougie squeezing his face. Ooh, just like the
That
doppelganger
freaked me
did to
out.
Jack. And the limo driver is the same one that drove Dougie home after winning all those big casino winnings, which of course is going to pay off later at the restaurant. This is a wonderful kind of closure to the whole Mr. Jackpot's sequence too. I mean, it's not just a throwaway joke that we got in part 3 and 4. I think that this episode completely it concludes it in such a wonderful, heartwarming way that only the director of The Straight Story and The Elephant Man can do. I mean, like, it didn't come off cheesy. Like you said, you were crying at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Because it's so beautifully done. But we'll get to that in a second. Look at Kyle here with this big old box. Why on earth would this pie company give him that big box?
Yeah, I know, it's so silly. Now, when he was doing the face thing, that is how am I going to put this? That's the only thing that we've seen bad Cooper do that Dougie is imitating. Everything else that Dougie does, like the repeat of words and different things, has always been good Cooper. So why is he affected by this at all when he seemingly doesn't have relationship with the doppelganger? You know what I'm saying?
Well, because
how am I saying this?
Well, because Mullins touched his face and then he's just started squeezing it. It's just kind of a strange reference. I don't think he's copying the doppelganger. I think it's meant for us to feel like a connection between good Coop, bad Coop. Because they are one and the same in a way.
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
What did you think of this leaving Viva Las Vegas thing? Leaving Las Vegas. This is a Nicolas Cage movie.
I wish Nicolas Cage was in this.
I have to say it's kind of the only standard moment, like in this episode. Like, it feels like it's not. It seems so not part of this world. It looks like a Las Vegas travelogue for a second.
Yeah, it was very random.
It is very random. And then we're out here in the desert, because that's what Nevada pretty much is. It's Las Vegas is the city in the middle of a desert. It's reminded me, this whole sequence reminded me of Casino, when Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci are screaming at each other in the desert. And of course, it also reminds me of the infamous last scene in David Fincher's Seven, when they're out there in the desert and Dougie's out there with the box. I kept waiting for someone to be like, "What's in the box?" Yeah. It's interesting because I was talking with Hal, whether it be Mulholland Drive, Inland Empire, and now this. We have characters that openly tell somebody else about, I had a dream last night and this is what the dream was. And and then slowly but surely it pays off for them.
Yeah.
And when we got that a little bit obviously in the original series too, Cooper had the dream and then he informs Harry and Lucy about it. But for the most part, it's only recently that Lynch has done this. One guy tells another guy about this dream. I had a dream. And here we have it as well with this whole Band-Aid thing. It's, if it was anybody else but David Lynch directing this, I don't think it would work.
No, I agree.
He has a way of doing this kind of material where he has like the perfect touch with it. If it was any other filmmaker, I'm telling you, like, no other, there's a reason why certain filmmakers are great at doing what they do, because nobody else can do what they do.
Yeah.
There's lots of movies out there where if you could hand the same script to, 20 different directors and it would probably be just as good. You could not hand this Mark Frost, David Lynch script to any other filmmaker and expect the same material that we are getting here. And not even just here. I mean, think about like Part 8. There's no way any other filmmaker would have directed it that way.
No.
So this is 100% David Lynch and Mark Frost, but obviously 100% David Lynch directed. Nobody else directs like this.
No.
It's
beautiful. It's beautiful. I love even the shot of this the ruins and things like that. It's just neat.
Yeah, it's very well done. And of course, as a viewer, first time viewer, I'm incredibly tense here because I know a lot of people have said, "Oh, I figured something good was going to happen, et cetera, et cetera." But listen, I saw Ray shoot the doppelganger, and then a bunch of woodsmen show up and pull Bob out or whatever. I really thought that maybe they were going to plug him. He was going to be dead. Then they would find the check, and that would send Cooper's spirit somewhere into the ether, and then into one of the other lodges or whatever, and then he'd have to come back out again. I was thinking that's where we were going to go, that something terrible was going to happen to Dougie, but Dougie continues to be a very, very blessed individual.
Yes.
So let me ask you something. Is it just Philip Gerard, which, aka Mike, doing this for Dougie, or is Philip Gerard working with the Black Lodge? And is the Black Lodge protecting Dougie as well, or is it only Philip Gerard at this point?
I mean, I would say Philip Gerard with the influence of the White Lodge. I don't think the Black Lodge has anything to do with it, because the Black Lodge, well, I mean, they want a Cooper back. I don't know if they really care at this point but
remember though, they that evolution of the arm came out of the ground and was helped Dougie out when Ike was attacking him. So
yeah, it's so hard to say because we haven't been in a lodge for a really long time.
Time. And isn't it interesting that Al Strobel's character is repeatedly named Philip Gerard in this new series and not Mike? And I don't think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I always thought that he was Philip Gerard outside of the lodge, but we haven't seen. Well, yeah. We haven't even seen him outside of the lodge, and I'm also trying to figure out why hasn't he gone out of the lodge, because he didn't die in the original series, so.
Not that we know of. He just kind of took a breath on the bed, and then we never saw him again. Right. But, yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I have to say, I mean, obviously, now knowing how this part ends, I see it, but you just never knew. You never know, what's gonna happen here. If just this is gonna be the moment that they just blow Cooper's head off.
Yeah. And I think too, the fact that it was cherry pie, like I wasn't expecting that, because it's so cheesy, but man, it really worked. Like it totally paid off, and they're all screaming and howling and stuff. And I'm like, at least find the check so that you don't kill him with, get blood all over the pie. But yeah, it was just a nice quirky touch, to cut the tension with a cherry pie. It was awesome.
Right. And the moment Belushi finds the check, and you just feel the whole tension of the scene just turn around, not only in Dougie's favor, but for us as well. Now we're like, okay, now we're in good hands. We're in safe hands. These guys are now, even though they're big time gangsters, they're almost like Dougie's backup force.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoever tries to come after Dougie is in for it. Nobody messes with the Mitchum brothers.
Nope.
And he shows up with a pie and $30 million. And they're going to be ticked off at Sizemore too, because Sizemore showed up and, confronted them in their casino saying, Dougie is your enemy. Dougie's your enemy. And now they're going to be like, Dougie was not our enemy. You are. Now,
Sizemore.
Now we have this piano player that a lot of people thought was Roman Polanski.
I didn't think about that. That's hilarious.
Now, I also think that it seems like to me, Sonny Jim is going to get a gym set. Don't you think?
I think so. I think that's in the cards.
Yeah, I think hopefully it happens before something bad happens to Janie E and him.
I know. I still have this feeling that I just don't think Janie's going to make it out alive, but.
Well, because I
can't
imagine Naomi Watts' character showing up in Twin Peaks like screaming outside Laura Palmer's house.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Dougie. He's so adorable. I love he goes to get his glass because he doesn't understand.
Right. Now, here's the thing. The piano player starts playing this music, and I can't be the only one who thought it was going to start playing the Laura Palmer theme, because that's when he turns his head. Because the first like 2 or 3 notes are the Laura Palmer theme, and then it transitions into something else. And then so when Cooper turned his head, I was like, oh my, if you play the Laura Palmer theme right now, I am going to fall off my couch and start like screaming uncontrollably.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, they do one better. They bring back who is affectionately known as in the credits as Jackpot Addict.
I just know her as she's Fran from Gilmore Girls.
Oh, is that who it is?
Yeah, she's Fran.
But I gotta tell you, it's like, oh, nice to know that her son Denver only shows back up when she's a millionaire.
Yeah.
But it is so sweet. And she's like, I have a house, I have a dog, I have my life back again. And look at the brothers. They're like they're like proud to be in Dougie's company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're not just like, okay, whatever, old lady. They look not just happy, I mean, generally proud to be in his company. And I think that to me has always been that was what made this scene so incredibly special. This is genuine, true like affection here. This isn't like some BS happy ending. I mean, Dougie, who, for all practical purposes is like in his own world, doesn't quite notice, how special he is to everybody else. Although he does kind of give a small little smile when she touches his cheek with the kiss. But no, this to me, I love Nepper and Belushi in this whole thing, but this is the scene that made me completely fall in love with them, because it shows that when you're on their side, they are there for you 150%. Something else I want to point out is these 3 women here, the showgirls that we get. Their names are Candy, Mandy, and Sandy. None of them are spelled with a Y. They're all spelled with D-I-E at the end. And, of course, the one our man keeps saying, don't die, don't die. I wonder if there's a connection there. Alexander contacted me and said the most insane theory, that he thinks that Candy here is somehow Annie Blackburn. I don't know how he can justify that, but I don't think we're heading that direction. Although people do want to say that Candy and Dougie seem like a perfect couple together, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, they would literally, they'd be like, I don't even know, people in rooms that just constantly knock into walls. Like, they're so clueless.
Right. The other thing is that I know you don't like the anagram stuff, but if you take out the C for Candy, the M for Mandy, and the S for Sandy, and just leave the Andy, you are left with all 3 of them with Diane.
Oh, geez.
And when Candy starts talking about the traffic jam, some people thought that maybe in her mind she's actually in Twin Peaks and is thinking about the traffic jam outside the Double R Diner.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I don't know how he can shovel pie, that much pie in his face, but I don't know. I mean, I don't want to read too much into the girls because we haven't seen them enough to really understand what's going on. I personally, I'd love to see Candy be like an undercover agent or something like that, and just purposely be like the leader of the 3, and be exceptionally stupid to really throw everybody off. But I don't know. Maybe they're just Lynch girls that are, dumb little bunnies that hang around with the bad guys.
Yeah, they remind me of the girls that back up Ian Buchanan and on the air, when he's like doing his TV presentations and stuff. Or the ones that sing 16 Reasons in Mulholland Drive, that they're that kind of look. Yeah, it would have been great though if James Belushi, if they are bringing back recalled lines from the original series, it would have been great if because Dougie does say damn good in this scene. It would have been great though to have James Belushi say, "Man, oh man, you have the metabolism of a bumblebee."
My gosh, yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
All right, credits are rolling and the piano player's going. So let me ask you, you wrote me and you said the scene made you cry. What was it about the scene that touched your heart?
I think it was the music, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just a musical person anyway, but the idea that one note could turn Cooper so quickly, that was what got me emotional. And with the cherry pie, and it just seemed like we're getting so close. We're inching so much closer. And I love the scene with Fran, or whatever, jackpot lady. I love the the specialness of that, and how we got a good conclusion to that. But yeah, it was
and the song is called "Heartbreaking" by Angela Badalamenti.
Yeah. I don't know if I can. It was that made me tear up and stuff. I just thought there was just good release in this episode. There were lots of answers, and then Cooper got his cherry pie. Like, as corny as that is, I'm like, we've been waiting a long time to see him eat that cherry pie, So it's just.
But it's also.
It was just.
Yeah, but it's also like it's giving us what we want in a way we didn't expect to get it, So
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. It doesn't feel like it's just fan service,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It was just, I just really liked it. I just felt really satisfied with how all of the scenes played out. So it's just, and I cry all the time anyway. So that's really the
so it was nothing special then.
Mm-mm.
Oh, great.
No, of course. No, this was the first, like, when I got ready to watch the first episode, I was like, I had a box of Kleenex. I actually think I had a towel with me. It was just waiting, because I was like, this is going to be so emotional and I'm going to cry. And, seeing all these people, it's going to be very overwhelming, because none of us knew what to expect. Right. And I didn't. And I was like, why aren't I crying? But there was just no need to it. There was no, emotional charge in what we had seen, I guess, up until now, that really hit home to the point that it produced that. So and that's why I love this episode so much too, is that, like, I'm a feeler, right? So the fact that it made me feel the way that it did, I just love it. So
yeah, it was a wonderful episode. The upcoming one is Let's Rock. And people have said to me, "Oh, that line's going to be right before the band starts at the Roadhouse." And they'll be like, "Let's rock."
You know what? I'm going to go with that, because if I think of anything else, I may be setting my expectations too high. So that makes perfect sense.
But I do think that I know people keep saying this after every part, but I do think things are definitely coming together. I think that we are in safe hands. And I think the payoff is going to be awesome.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I was, like I said, if they had put part 10 and 11 together as a 2-hour episode, if it had begun with Richard Horne kicking down Miriam's door and ending with the piano playing at the end, what a full range of emotions that 2 hours would have been.
Yeah.
As opposed to some of the stop starts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the biggest problems, is that the episodes in the original series were designed to, even though it told an overarching story, it did have kind of an episode began and an episode closed out. This is one continuous movie, so they're just stopping it. And sometimes by doing that, it feels like you're putting the movie on pause and then coming back a week later. So some parts are going to carry you through the week, and some parts aren't going to be as satisfactory, maybe carrying you through the week, but you're still excited to see the new episode. And then when you see the new episode, it makes the last one it makes it better. You know? So yeah, I'm glad they're still doing it week by week. Because binge watching, we would have watched this all in like a day and a half and been done with it,
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't be pulling it apart with all these clues and stuff and analyzing the frames and things like, if we just binge watch the whole thing in a day and a half.
Yeah. So. No, it's fun. It's fun to do this. And, you know, we didn't have the means of communication 25 years ago when it was on. So
right.
we're very lucky to have this going on right now.
Exactly. I remember back in the day, every time an episode ended, within 3 minutes, I was on the phone, sort of like a kind of a group phone chat line. You know, it was like you would call up your friend, but like you had 3-way calling, and so you could have like 3 of your friends at 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday night going, "Okay, can you believe that they just killed Madeline Ferguson?"
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's an amazing time we live in. I can't believe we have, what, 7 more episodes left?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it. So it's only like 5 weeks because they're playing 2 of them together, right? So,
right. The How's Annie part 17 and 18.
Yes, exactly.
No, yeah, but it's not it, because in October we have Mark Frost's book coming out.
Yes.
So, and I'm hoping that's not it either. And I'm not talking about another series or whatever. I hope they continue doing something in this world, even if it's not a series. Like maybe I don't know, every once in a while a book coming out or something of that nature. But I know Lynch is very, very protective of that kind of thing. He wouldn't even let a graphic novel be published 10, 12 years ago about it. So
yeah.
This might be it, and as long as it has some sort of resolution that works, even if it is an open-ended resolution, it still has to feel like a resolution.
Yeah.
I'm fine with whatever, but I do hope they allow, I don't know, more to do in this world, you know, because I love, like David Lynch says, I love this world. I love Twin Peaks. I couldn't agree more. In fact, I think we've spent more time in South Dakota in this new series than we have in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And that's not a complaint. I'm just saying that, you know, I'd like to explore Twin Peaks a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I agree.
Yeah. So.
And we got a lot of that tonight. Like this episode has a lot of that. And there was just a nice warm feeling about that. It was familiar and I like that. So.
But familiar, but not in a way that looked like it was kissing the fans' butts.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right, Mandy. Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And thank you, everybody, for watching along with us. We have part 12 coming up this Sunday. Let's rock. I think this is the last episode that's going to be on at the normal time. And then the next week after that, I believe it moves back an hour, at least here in the States. I can't imagine watching Twin Peaks at 5 p.m. in the afternoon.
I love that. I can't wait.
No, 5 p.m. in the afternoon is reserved for Three's Company reruns. It's not. Twin Peaks is something you should be watching 9 o'clock at night on Thursdays or 10 o'clock on Saturday nights, not Sunday nights at 5 o'clock. But hey, I'll take it where I can get it.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys again for watching. Make sure to like these videos and share them, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So until next time, take care.